This family room looks calm, but it was working against how people connect. Hey everyone, I want to walk you through a room that I did recently that really taught me something important about how we actually live. This room is featured on my blog, so you can go there and check out all of the details. But I wanted to do a video to show you visually how we took the room from the before to the after. So come join me at my desk and let's walk through it. So my clients came to me with a challenge that I think a lot of homeowners might have, and that is turn this really awkwardly narrow room into a space that would work for their busy family. So they have 2 active teenagers that are really adult size, and the room was meant to be where everyone landed, right? The kids, parents, friends, and family as well. They loved spending time here, but nothing they've tried really struck the balance they were looking for in this room. When I first arrived there was Sectional that dominated the space. Now, it was very well lived in, the kids loved it. However, it did make the room feel really heavy and visually flat at the same time. My clients really couldn't put their finger on it, but they knew that it just felt bland and that it didn't reflect who they were anymore. After looking at the space, I realized that the architecture was really the core issue here. Now, it's an older colonial home, very charming, but the layout really prevented the room from really seeing its potential. So let me walk you through what wasn't working and the 2 decisions that completely changed how the room functioned. On paper, this room had a lot going for it. So when you first walk into the foyer, there is a clear view down a long hallway through a doorway that leads you back into this family room. And beyond that, there's a wall of windows and a patio door that leads you out into the backyard overlooking a stream. This is very picturesque, and technically speaking, this is what you want to achieve architecturally. You want to be able to draw people in and invite them to move through the house into the back living spaces. But there were 3 architectural conditions that made this back room just feel uninviting. First, a patio door cut directly through the seating area, compressing where the furniture could live. And because there was another patio door nearby, my clients never used this door. Second, the fireplace and TV pulled attention in different directions, which made the room feel visually undecided. And the piece of furniture underneath their TV lacked any weight, making it look like it was a floating black box, which is not ideal. Third, the footprint was long and narrow, which can easily start to feel more like a hallway than a place to gather. None of these issues were really dramatic on their own, but together they prevented the space from ever feeling settled. This is the tension that my clients kept feeling but couldn't verbalize. So what's important to say here is that nothing was wrong with the sectional on its own, besides the fact that it had seen better days, but it did what it was supposed to do. It was a lounging piece of furniture. But this room needed to support more than just one posture at a time, right? It needed to handle conversations, everyday use, movement, while looking stylish as well. So when one piece of furniture dictates how a room should behave, everything else around it has to work. Now, if that piece of furniture is not properly scaled, that's when you start to feel like, oh, it just feels too heavy, or it just feels like the room is too small, etc. My client's non-negotiables were very clear. The room needed to feel casual, but durable enough for everyday use with 2 teenagers. And it also needed to be a space that they felt proud of. Assignment understood. I myself have 2 teenagers, so I know what it's like to want your home to reflect where you are in life, but you also want to include your kids in it. Anything to keep them close a little bit longer feels like it's worth fighting for. Instead of following the architectural layout or forcing symmetry in the room, we edited the room by doing these 3 things. First move was actually rug size and placement. The rug became a visual boundary for the conversation circle. Second move was reframing the patio door with custom drapery so it read as part of a continuous window wall rather than an interruption. Those 2 decisions worked together to expand the usable footprint of the room without changing the architecture. And the third move was quieter, but just as important, we needed to resolve the tension between the fireplace and the TV. So before, both walls were visually weighted the same, with large solid rectangles competing for attention. And that's what made the room feel off balance. So instead of fighting that, we let the texture of the fireplace do all the work. We removed the oversized artwork and replaced it with layered pieces, allowing the negative space and texture to become part of the composition. That change guided the eye up and down in a softer rhythm, highs and lows, instead of locking it into one static focal point. It's a subtle move, but it allows 2 focal walls to coexist without competing. Those 3 edits, the rug, the drapery, and the art, worked together to bring balance back into the room. We didn't add a whole lot, we just edited the room. Before designing a room, this is where my thinking always starts, with what I call a conversation circle. So when I talk about a conversation circle, I'm really talking about how close people feel to each other within a space. The seating distance is important. The coffee table scale is also important. Where your feet land. Those details either invite connection or they completely shut it down. A simple way to tell if your conversation circle is working is to ask yourself this. Can everyone reach a surface? Do they see each other? And can they stay seated without having to shift their body to have a conversation? Also, is no one having to yell to talk to one another? If the answer is no, then the room will almost always feel a little unsettled, no matter how good it looks. If the rug is too small or the table is too light, the room is not going to feel grounded. So when those elements work well together, then they signal something really important. This is where you sit, and this is where you stay. A thoughtfully designed room works when it supports how we live or how we aspire to live. And that's exactly what happened here. My clients love the room, but what's important is that their kids feel right at home in it. They are spending more time in this space, watching TV, having conversations, and just really living. And one of the things that made me so happy was when I found out that Mom's favorite space is on the swivel chair that we added. No more negotiating for the sofa space or having to perch on the edge of the sofa. Everyone has a place, and the room is finally supporting the way that this family actually lives. So as I mentioned before, you will find more details about this particular room on my blog. And for anyone who wants exact specifications and proportions, I've created a design file that walks through this room in detail. because good design isn't about just filling the space. It's really about finding what matters most and learning to apply that thinking in your own home. If this way of thinking about rooms resonates with you, you'll find more case studies, and stay tuned for more design files on my website.